Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon where you live around the world. Not satisfied to end the set of videos I've created today, I proceeded to create the struts for each independent surface area and clad them with a representation of a polythene film, a vinyl film. So as we can see here, I've created the geometry of the dome, created the timber struts and the cladding. Also, why not superimpose a photo to see just how close I'm getting the struts to the photos? Because if I do that, I know that I am at least in the right area for creating a reasonably valid or accurate dome according to what other people have done, obviously through engineering or greater experience. I don't know whether I'm doing it right yet, but if I can approximate what they're doing, I'm on the right track. So this dome that you can see here was created from not a picture, as I've done before to generate the picture to the dome, but via the method that I've now quite comfortable with. But if I tilt this down, you can see being exposed from underneath an actual photo. Back to there, but it overlays almost perfectly. The yellow or the gold is the dome that I've created, and you can see just slightly, as almost as if it's a shadow, while it's still the dome I created, but you can see a pale line running through here. Well, that's my dome, but just on the inside of that is the outline of the photo. That means that it is all but identical to the photo. Now, had I created the dome from the photo, well, yes, you would expect that. But this dome was created via the method that I'm now saying is the one I'm going to be using, and it overlays perfectly. Saying at least in plan view, we've got it right. Now if I take the front view, we can, I'd have to rotate it, but we can have a look at whether this part of the photo is going to line up with the front view. I've already done that with this picture. This is a different drawing. It doesn't overlay as well. I didn't really expect it to, but it's not too bad. Oops, we can see that the points of the hub are pretty darn good, except where we have this strut issue, the one that's been bugging me. But look at all the other points of the hub. Pretty much, you couldn't get much better. Again, this is a photo that I've dragged into the Sketchup program after I'd created my dome. So in as far as that's concerned, I'm quite happy. How did they get their points for this last strut? It's a good question. Is there a drawing method or approach to achieve that? I'd like to think so. But if I was so adamant that I needed to lengthen that strut, I know that at least starting with the drawing that I'm creating, I could then fudge it a little bit to draw this hub uphill so that it can intersect at a point which makes that strut longer. This is the front elevation. Again, looking at this, you can see that the hubs are they're pretty good. They represent a reasonable approximation, but as you can see here, this particular one is at a higher level. You can also see that the leg on this particular picture is much shorter. So, mind you, by the time you pull this down, and it may well be closer to what I've got here. So, I think that's actually saying that what we're doing is certainly in the right direction for achieving a good end result. So you can see here I've created the struts. These are not beveled as they would need to be to fit together, and I just aligned them with the outside line, the wire mesh, as it were, frame, and created the hubs that way. And of course, this is the representation of the dome with the polythene or vinyl cladding on it. But for this one, which has surprised me, it's absolutely identical. So that, even the hubs here that create this strut, even that says that I'm achieving via my own drawing what this dome was likely, or via the method that this dome was created. So any shortcomings of this I share with it, but what's to say that this is the right way or wrong way of doing it? And how did they achieve it? Did they have, like me, a preference to have a longer strut in this area here, and they created a method to achieve that? Don't know. The curvature, this curve here, I have achieved in other drawings, so I may have to go back and see how I achieved that to see whether there's something that I can incorporate into the drawing method. Don't know. But as I said, I'm just including this wee video to say, well, how clever am I, that this particular photo as an overlay or underlay is pretty much identical. So well done me on getting to this point where at least I'm sharing my drawing approach with the approach that these people used. Hey, doke, that's it. I'll see you later. Bye.